All right, and we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, live on the GSMC Sports Network, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling. I talk about all the action inside and outside the ring, backstage, curtain calls, rumor, and dramas. I talk about, injury statuses, I talk about, inactive superstars as well, their contract negotiations, their extensions, and new signings. We talk about promotions like AEW to WWE to New Japan Professional Wrestling to Stardom if it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling. We talk about it here on this show 1,010%. All right, so without further ado, let's jump on into our fifth and final segment. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Those who had the day off, awesome. That's pretty cool. Those who don't, nothing bad about, working. You get to come home, relax, chill. Something to look forward to. Good to watch Monday Night Raw. So, without further ado, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about a little bit about MLK first, and then we're going to hit on some of the historic African-American professional wrestlers. Obviously, you guys all gone to grade school. You guys know who this man was. Really, just an amazing person. Just an amazing person, a historical figure. Obviously, he assassinated sucks. Usually all the good people, go. But this day obviously was established to, honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King and to encourage all Americans, which should be everybody, to volunteer to improve their communities, be nice to one another, obviously treat other people like you want to be treated. Obviously to mark the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King. He was the chief spokesperson for a nonviolent activism in the civil rights movement, which protested racial discrimination in federal and state law. Life before the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Obviously, at that point, you have the Jim Crow laws that legalized segregations. African Americans would have to sit in the back of the bus. Separate drinking fountains, restrooms, and dining areas. That's just so crazy. So crazy. There used to be a time where, there was so much hate, in the world. But, there's, I would say it as a society, like we've gotten better, by doing all that, which, I do think we've gotten a little bit better. But then maybe, my wife always tells me I always think the world is full of rainbows and unicorns. And it's like, sometimes you don't see the big picture. And I'm like, what? No, but I understand, still to this day, there's obviously still, there's still, racism, bigotry at large and stuff like that. Hopefully, we can take a step in the right direction and, just kind of be nice, be kind to one another. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it could be, politics this, politics that, and trying to shy away from politics here on this podcast. But at the end of the day, if you want something to change, you got to come together with your fellow man, and you gotta work together. As much as I might like the other person. You know what I mean? But it should never be based on never based on looks, ethnicity, cultures, and all that stuff. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Brown versus the Board of Education, which held that racially segregating public schools were unconstitutional. Well, yeah, absolutely, 1,010%. It's once again, if you want a better society, they have to receive an education. It's equal equity could definitely be met in the same sentence. But it's just something that we need to further the our communities. I don't know, and that overall sparked the civil rights movement. Absolutely crazy. But obviously, got to respect the man, Martin Luther King. He had one of my favorite quotes of all time. I think it was, if you have nothing to die for, then you have nothing to live for. And I definitely, I love that. There's a couple of other quotes that I, love to ultimately, kind of refrain to once when I'm like, I need some motivation. Martin Luther King he was an amazing public speaker. Man, that guy could speak. I would definitely, give me a class, man. Give me a class. That'd be pretty badass. That'd be pretty cool. All right, so we have, we have historic African-American wrestlers that were in WWE, some of the best, black wrestlers. First, we got to go with Jazz. Obviously, I might miss a couple of names here, and I am running short of time. So, if you have a couple of, historic African-American wrestlers that impacted your life, make sure you guys hit it up in the chat. But Jazz in the women's division, this girl was absolutely dominant. I remember nobody really could beat her. She was like, not like the awesome Kong, you know what I mean? Like once when she was kicking ass on TNA. I think she did AEW too. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But Jazz was pretty badass. She was pretty cool. Obviously, this man, Ron the Truth Killings. I remember when he debuted in WWE. I think he was K Quick. But no, just his overall persona outside the ring and inside the ring. It's just, he's a good watch. He's a funny watch. You can bet that, and you can see that all the wrestlers in the back definitely, love and respect him. They have nothing but good things to say about Ron. But no, he kicks ass. Devon Dudley, one half of the Dudley Boys. Man, this guy basically shaped my my attitude toward tag team wrestling. Him and him and Bubba Ray. Definitely the Dudley Boys, one of my favorite tag teams of all time. And even now, I think he's doing wrestling promotions. I do think so. I don't know if he's podcasting right now. I know Bubba is, or Bully Ray. But, I think I saw something on Instagram it was like a wrestling promotion that it came to like Lake Elsinore. I live in the Southern California area. And I think he was running it. So, it would be kind of cool to kind of see him, maybe get him on the show. All right, we got Ron Simmons, Farouk, before he was teaming up with Bradshaw, kicking ass and taking names. Obviously, he's one of my favorite wrestlers because he's just simply amazing. Remember, Nation of Domination was pretty badass. Then in his later career in wrestling, the whole damn thing was pretty funny. Was pretty cool. It's always good to see him make a cameo on WWE. Always a pleasure to see Farouk there. And Booker T, the five-time WCW champion, World Heavyweight champion, King of the Ring. This guy really came to WWE, and he did it all. It did take a couple of it did take some time. He took some BS, man. Took some bullspit. Once when WCW was accumulated by WWE, you saw a lot of WCW wrestlers kind of get trashed and buried. And I feel like they tried doing that to Booker. I remember watching a promo where Triple H was basically saying that, hey, who are you? Basically downgrading the career that Booker T had alongside his partner Stevie Ray and the Harlem Heat. And, him winning the WCW championship on the last episode of Monday Night Nitro. I think he beat DDP or Scott Steiner. I think it was one of those guys. But, definitely, Booker T's up there. Naomi, she's wrestling royalty, obviously. She's with Jimmy Uso. But she's always nice to have on television. Once when her and Sasha Banks left the WWE due to, creative character issues. It sucked. I was like, dude, I kind of like Naomi around. I would love to see her turn heel, though. I got to be honest. Jacqueline, the former WWE Women's Champion, she was pretty badass. I remember watching her with Ivory, Holly Molly, one of those. I think it was Luna Vachon too. She was there. Terry Runnels, Sable. There's a lot of old school divas, women's wrestlers that, man, if you put them inside the ring, it seemed like they could throw hands, man. Obviously, back then it was different times, and I know you guys are all probably thinking Attitude Era, you had your standard promos and bra and panty matches and stuff like that, and you're just kind of it didn't really take until I think it was Fit Finley who was training, Lita, Trish Stratus, all those girls. To kind of be and he kind of brought the attention to Vince McMahon. He was like, hey, these girls could actually wrestle if you guys want to actually see them wrestle, instead of just being the entertainment, not an entertainment factor that, that's not kind of being just like a pretty face to look at or something like that. Instead you can actually have these women, kind of have a division, and you see right now on NXT, you see mostly all women's matches, and they bring eyes to the product. Back then it wasn't really like that, which sucks. But I'm happy that it finally they finally got the respect. Shelton Benjamin, one of my favorite wrestlers from Orangeburg, South Carolina. I remember when he debuted with the Greatest Tag Team with Charlie Haas with Kurt Angle. He's one. I remember I got a wrestling toy of him, and he was just I don't know. He was just my favorite. He'd win all the time. All the time. It pissed my brothers off. He'd be like, oh, why does your toy win all the time? Just kidding. No, that never happened. I'm just kidding. No, no, it was cool. It was cool. Shelton Benjamin, one of my favorite. Mark Henry, too, the world's strongest man. I remember him too as Sexual Chocolate. He was part of the Nation of Domination as well. He was pretty awesome. Bianca Belair, getting into more recent times, she has been and she's going to be definitely a WWE Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. The EST of WWE, she still has some championship reigns left in her. Also, the New Day. The New Day, it sucks that they broke up. I really do. It kind of does suck. But Big E, ever since being injured, now you kind of have this new day, new beginning kind of, I just hope that they just don't, lose all the time. If you break them up, it better be for something. I want to see these guys win the tag team championships. Maybe Xavier Woods finally gets his push. Maybe he gets a Intercontinental Championship reign or something like that. Because he has talent. He's very, very talented. I feel like he could win the big one, but it would be like a David versus Goliath kind of story. And I feel like with this storyline as him as a heel doesn't really fit. Unless you have somebody like Jey Uso win the World Heavyweight Championship from Gunther at WWE Saturday night's main event, and then Xavier Woods, bam, number one contender, maybe it could happen. Bobby Lashley, one of my favorite wrestlers. Obviously, a very success. Well, he's a lot of success outside WWE. And I'm not saying he didn't have success in WWE, but WWE they didn't really know what to do with him. Definitely, a rising young enough. He's a star, and they let him slip through his fingers, much like Ricochet. And now he's on AEW right now. Him and Shelton Benjamin are going to fight for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I'm not really in love with that because I wanted to see him in the main event picture, the AEW World Championship. But right now they're doing the storyline with Moxley. But no, I would love to see him be bigger and better in AEW. Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné. Right now she has all the gold. She's accumulated all the gold in AEW. Definitely love and respect her, but right now she's just man, you're winning too much, man. You're winning too much. In the women's division in AEW, I feel like it's kind of suffering because she has a stronghold on both those titles, the TBS Championship and the New Japan Women's Strong Championship. And now she has two more that she recently accumulated from Mina Shirakawa at Wrestle Dynasty, which it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Kamala. This guy was I wasn't old enough to watch him yet. Obviously, you check out wrestling magazines, you see Kamala, you see the Junkyard Dog as well, and you're like, oh man, these guys. I don't think the Junkyard Dog ever won a championship. I'm not too sure. I gotta fact check that one. But definitely love and respect that. The Rock, gotta mention The Rock. African American and Samoan wrestling dynasty right here. Definitely successful, super awesome. And there's Babo Brazil along with his partner Edward Bearcat Wright. He was the first ever NWA African American champion. He's won 52 titles across 14 promotions. He's often been compared to the Jackie Robinson of professional wrestling after he came along. Kind of help unsegregate professional wrestling and stuff like that because during that time it was everywhere and it was bad. It was absolutely terrible, 1,010%. It's just crazy how everything that's just I guess. Like I said, I hope, better as a professional wrestling, better as a society. It's just crazy how once upon a time America, basically, shut black people out and refused to recognize their rights, their basic human dignity and identity, and just their very own lives. Like it's crazy. I just, pray for the world to get better. That's definitely keeps me going. All right, guys, thank you for following me with this show. Hopefully you guys had a good time. I had a good time. Definitely remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter /X, Facebook, and TikTok for more content and updates. And like I always say, if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, we have football podcast, basketball, all around sports, college football. We had Ohio State win the national championship, so congratulations to the Buckeyes. But yeah, make sure you guys check out all the other guys' podcast as well. So like I said, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys are gearing up for a safe week. Remember to like and subscribe to the show. Stay beautiful, but most importantly, absolutely love you guys 1,010%. But let's all remember today, MLK Day. Hope you guys had a great one. So I will definitely see you guys live on Wednesday. Definitely check back for the GSMC podcast, podcasting network, and sports network on YouTube, so you guys can catch up on your latest GSMC content. Have a good night, and of course, I love you.